Roberts. You have the call.
Thank you, Deputy President. As a servant to the many different people who make up our one Queensland community, I'm speaking this afternoon or this evening in support of my motion to refer the classification system to a Senate inquiry. I've circulated a briefing document to explain this motion, and I hope senators have had time to review the material relating to cartoons for adults, otherwise known as graphic novels in digital and printed form. The Classification Board administers the Classification, Publications, Films and Computer Games Act of 1995. Not every publication, though, is checked, of course. This would not be feasible. Instead, a system of voluntary referral is in place for questionable publications. That's where the problem is, the system of referral or non-referral. A publication called The Boys has been available in Australia since the first issue in 1996. This is the same The Boys Netflix turned into a hit streaming show. Children seeing the sanitised Netflix version and then seeing the book version on the shelf of their local library will of course pick the book up and borrow it, unaware of the depictions of extreme violence, rape, public sex and bestiality found in the publication. Even more troubling, all of these things are portrayed in a positive light. For 25 years, this material has been perfectly legal to sell, display and lend to minors of any age. A week after the Classification Board appeared before Senate estimates to answer questions from myself and from Senator Antic, the Board reviewed all 6 volumes of The Boys. As a result of a referral from campaigner and family protector and children protector Bernard Gaynor, a citizen fulfilling his responsibility to the community, to the nation, got it referred to the Board. 3 volumes were restricted and 3 were allowed to remain on sale unrestricted, meaning available in libraries to children. One of the banned works, Episode 5 in Volume 1, was titled Herogasm and chronicled the sexual exploits of our superheroes. Graphic depictions included orgies and bestiality. This behaviour is presented in a positive light, with smiles, high fives, raised fists and whoops all around. Dynamite Publishing did not refer their publication to the Classification Board as the law requires. I'll say that again. Dynamite Publishing did not refer their publication to the Classification Board as the law requires. The Classification, Publications, Films and Computer Games Act 1995 does not prescribe a penalty on a publisher who does not refer a work that may be subject to sanction. That's an incentive to not submit a work. This is one of the terms of reference for this motion. Penalties may be appropriate on a publisher who failed to submit a work that was subsequently restricted. One of the volumes that was not banned depicted the male lead character, Homelander, raping the lead female character, Starlight, complete with the protestations using language that should not be suitable for children. The Board declined to restrict the volume because the nudity in the rape scene was not overly graphic. What about the rape? All senators and members of Parliament were just required to take a course in sensitivity to women. The Classification Board clearly needs to attend the same training. A second justification for not restricting the volume is even worse. It was, quote, the 2 characters both climaxed, suggesting the sex was not rape but consensual. The Classification Board is apparently bringing back "but she came," the old rape defence. Where are the women's activists? Where are the Greens talking about women now? Nowhere to be seen. Another graphic novel currently on sale and display in libraries, unrestricted by the Classification Board, is Nagoma, which depicts sexual behaviour featuring girls who are actually labelled in the illustration as being 7 years old. Just in case there was any doubt about who these comics are really aimed at. Now we have the book Welcome to Sex. Authors Yumi Steins, Melissa King and Jenny Latham, published by international publishing house Hardy Grant Children's Publishing. Much has been said about this publication in recent weeks. For those who have not read it, let me explain a little about this book. The publication is officially aimed at ages 10 and up. with author Yumi Steins publicly stating that she would have no problem with an 8-year-old reading the book.
Shame.
Certainly some of the information in this book will help adolescents come to terms with their changing body and the relationships around that process. If the authors had stopped there, we would have had no problem. They didn't stop there. The second half of this book is nothing short of an instruction manual in how to perform adult sex acts, commencing with advice to young girls to take their own virginity with a hairbrush and then moving on to hand jobs, sex and even anal sex, ending with advice on how to send naked selfies.
Disgusting.
All in a book published for ages 10 and up. How is it legal to advise kids to have sex before they are legally able, to send illegal child pornography and to advise children to ignore the counsel of their own parents? How is this legal? 10-year-old children cannot have sex and should not be tutored on how to do so. It may be that this abhorrent material is being sold because the Classification Board only has the choice between unrestricted and R18+, which is restricted to sale in plain wrappers to adults. In effect, the current classification system has no jump between Cat in the Hat and actual porn. All publications become either one or the other. Legislation written in 1995 simply didn't envisage this trend to graphic novels that are sexually violent and exploitative material that one could describe as child grooming material. Children are far more valuable than this. I'm asking the committee to decide if there should be more steps in the classification options so material like this can be allowed for sale to adolescents old enough to actually engage in the sexual practices explained in this publication. After all, the Classifications, Publications, Films and Computer Games Act 1995 does require the board to protect children from all forms of sexual exploitation, abuse and pornographic material. This publication is pornographic. Restricting a publication like this is not book burning, as some have suggested. Some are afraid of a debate. One Nation is not calling for the book to be banned. We are suggesting this book should be classified in a way that prevents young children from reading it. That is not book burning. That is basic decency, reflecting community standards that says teaching 10-year-olds how to have anal sex is just plain wrong. A legally binding MA 15+ classification would achieve that. I ask the Senate's support for my motion. Thank you.